Hey everyone, welcome to the Higher Alignment Podcast. I'm your host, Minh-Thu, and I'm an executive coach focused on helping people heal their burnout and reconnect to their purpose through self-mastery. I'm a recovering perfectionist and control freak who spent too many years living overwhelmed and exhausted. Now I show executives how to identify their blind spots and use this to propel them on their journey to finding more fulfillment and freedom without burning out. If you've been feeling lost or disconnected in life, book a complimentary connection call to discuss how we can get you back on the path of self-mastery and living a life that feels successful on your terms. Go to higheralignmentconsulting.com/program to book your call, and we'll see you on the other side. Welcome to another episode of the Higher Alignment Podcast, everyone. I'm super excited because today I have my client and friend, Jessica Ward, on with us. And so thanks for joining us, Jess. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be a part of your podcast.
I'm just really excited that you're here because I think your story is super inspiring, and just seeing the work that we've done together, knowing you personally, but also getting to explore this space with you has been really great. So I thought we could just start off with, maybe can you just tell everyone what you do career-wise, how long you've been in the industry, and just kind of like maybe how you're feeling when we first started working together.
Yeah. So for work, I'm a finance manager. I'm a senior finance manager at a car dealership. I started there 10 years ago. I started in the industry at the same time. So I've been in the same place for 10 years, worked with a great group of people, built a store from the ground up, worked my butt off 7 days a week, 12-hour days a lot of the time. And yeah, just put like so much hustle and heart into what I did. And it's been 10 years now. So that's where I'm at.
And how were you feeling when we started working together? Because I know you have, like you said, you built that store from the ground up. So you've had a lot of responsibility on your plate. Obviously, no shortage of demands on you, just from a time perspective, an energy perspective. And you have also had a really successful career. And, we have that similarity in common. I came from the auto world as well, too. And we know that that's an industry that I say isn't very forgiving. It pulls every ounce out of you. Like, it'll take every piece of energy and just everything you have to have a successful career. And it has great benefits as far as what you can do for yourself financially and what you can provide for yourself, but it does take a lot out of you. So could you just maybe let everyone know what you were feeling from a professional standpoint when we started working together, and even just from a personal point, like what brought you to the point of being like, I want to explore going through this program?
That's a loaded question for sure. I feel like, where I was at for so long, I feel like when you do something for so long, it just becomes super repetitive and very redundant. Like you said, I mean, like the auto industry is not forgiving. Like we take a lot of heat, we take a lot of criticism, we take a lot of, we honestly get our head bashed in a lot. And so I just think like many, many, many years of that just becomes extremely draining and extremely exhausting. There's a ton of responsibility that goes into, what you did and what I do, that you kind of get to a point where you're like, is there more to, like, there's got to be more to life than this, like there's got to be more outside these four walls that I go to every day. And, I live downtown and I drive 45 minutes every day to work. And so I'm in the car for an hour and a half on top of my days. And like, mind you, like I have to say, like, I've been very blessed to be in the position I'm in now, just because I don't work as many hours anymore. I have let some of the responsibility that I took on, like, pass to some other people. But again, like, it's just, the constant grind of like driving in, driving out, doing what you do. And I think the reason why I got to this point and why we kind of connected on, more of a professional level and business level now, is just because I was like, I just feel tired constantly. I feel like I'm not living on purpose right now. And I feel like, is it me? Like, why can't I like kind of escape this situation I'm in? Like, I have tons of ability and talent, and I know I do, and I'm confident of that. But it's like, why can't I get out? And what kind of keeps like bringing me back to where I'm at? And there is a lot of reasons why. And again, like, there is a lot of good to it. So it's kind of that like, should I, shouldn't I situation. And so that's kind of what I was feeling when we started, is just like, getting to kind of just like the root of it, you know, like let's just explore me, like let's just see what else I have to bring to the table, like let's just kind of like peel me like an onion, you know, like I just haven't done that in a long time. And, you know, I really strive to like constantly be growing. And I feel like in the last probably 5 years, like I haven't been, you know, like I know everything like the back of my hand. I can do the shit in my sleep. It's like I'm great at what I do, but you know, just like needs more, right? And so that's, yeah. So in a nutshell, that's kind of what brought us together, you know, working together now.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you said that because I think so many people feel similar to you, and especially people who are high performers. You know what I mean? Like you clearly have never had an issue with hard work or hitting a goal or making a target and just kind of making things happen. And I think when, people who are high performers, executives, managers, whatever, get to that point of feeling like stuck, it is almost even more it's a more vulnerable process because you're so used to having all the answers and making things happen. And when you get to that point, from what I've seen, and even with myself, you're even harder on yourself than most people are because you have such high expectations for yourself,
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think it's so great that you express that because it's a real thing we all deal with. Even the people who've created incredible companies and businesses and hit the craziest levels of accomplishment still have this moment of being like, what the fuck, really? You know what I mean? Like, how did I get here? Like, how did I things transpire to the point of feeling so stuck and lost? And I remember when we first started working together, one of the things you said to me is you said, I feel so strong yet so weak in some areas.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, just like a really great description of what people experience.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, when we talk and like, you know, I know we're on this podcast or whatever and together, but it's just like a conversation that we always have together. I get super emotional about it, you know, because it's so true. And when you hear it back to yourself, it really kind of hits different than when you say it out loud. Like saying shit out loud has been hard. Like anyway, we'll probably get there, but like it's not been easy for sure.
And so when we started talking about doing this work together, like going through this coaching process, like did you have any hesitation about getting started? Like truthfully, was there anything in you like, "Oh, I don't need this," or like, "Is this for me?" Like was there any hesitation in actually like taking the time to reinvest and put the focus back on Jess for a while because it had been on everything else for so long?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that anything new you do or anything, you know, new that gets kind of brought to your table, like there's always a bit of hesitation. I mean, I think that's just a little bit of human nature. I mean, unless you're just like one of those people that like to jump out of planes or something. I don't know, but like I'm not one of those people, you know, like I think things through like up, down and sideways. It's just like I'm a very logical, you know, kind of need to like check and balance everything kind of a person. So yeah, for sure. I mean, there was we chatted a couple times about it. It wasn't, you know, like, and you were like, I think this will be really good for you. And honestly, if I feel like because like you're you and so many people are gonna like just value what you do, is one of the reasons honestly why I was like, I trust you, I know you, and you don't fuck around. So like I'm not gonna waste my time, you know what I mean? So but yeah, there was hesitation just because I was nervous about like number one, like the commitment weekly is hard, you know, and it sounds stupid because it's an hour a week or an hour and a half I should say a week, and then you know like going through the modules and stuff is a little bit more time for sure, so it's definitely a commitment and it doesn't seem like a lot of time, you know, because you know there's 24 hours in a day and there's this, but like shit comes up, you know, like you're working and then you freaking need to go to the gym and you gotta like you know, like I meal prep and you know gotta do laundry and I have a million things, like I'm still trying to like get my place in order because we moved in like 6 months ago and like haven't gotten there, you know, just like all this stuff. And so I was like, do I really want to commit, you know? And so the reason why though honestly I did was number one because I felt like even if like all goes to shit, right? Let's just say I hated everything that came out of your mouth, which I don't, but let's just say I feel like I would at least learn something from myself that would be of value, right? And I say to myself all the time, if you're not growing, you're dying. And literally I felt like I've been dying for a little while. I try to grow in obviously different areas, but not in necessarily my career at this point. So yeah, I think that was, that was the reason I was like, yes, was because, if all else fails and whatever, I think that definitely I can learn something about myself. And I think it would be a good way for me to just get back to that growing phase. Right. So that's the reason, that's honestly, which is funny now, like, I don't know how many weeks in we are, but it's funny now looking back being like, that was the only reason. And like, I've learned there's so much we've talked about, like, it's insane. And like, I love, like, I hear back our weekly sessions, like at the second day you send it to me all the time. And honestly, it's been fantastic. But like, for sure, like anything like new that you're about to do, like if it doesn't scare you, that means that like you should be doing it, or you know what I mean? Like if it doesn't scare you, sorry, it means you shouldn't be doing it. If it scares you, that means that you don't know what the fuck's going to happen. So just go do it, because it's the unknown, and the unknown is good. So yeah, that's how I felt.
No, and that's great. And I'm so glad you shared that because, again, especially with my predominant audience and people I work with, it's like there's no shortage of stuff for you to do. Like you said,
Yeah.
like you got a full time job, you have a lot of responsibilities, and you got to try and get to the gym. You want to eat clean, you want to meal prep, things come up. Like there's no shortage of things already on your plate. And so there is this level of like, I'm sure all of my clients think this. I thought this when I started my own work. It's like, do I have time to even like add to this? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like there's already so many things demanding my time. Like where am I going to find the time, the energy? If you're already burnt out, it's like thinking of committing to one more thing sounds like torture, you
Well,
know?
it does, because it's like, again, it's once a week and it's an hour and a half, but like at that time, like, because you're in this state of just like honestly exhaustion, like you don't want to communicate with anyone, you don't want to open and expand your brain, like you literally like want to go for a run, or like just be alone or watch Netflix, like that's just the reality, right? Or spend time with your significant other. But yeah, like the last thing people really want to do is stretch and grow. Like it's
Right.
uncomfortable, right?
Right. And because you already feel so stretched, right? You're already on like your last thread, it feels like. So thinking about like, you're not necessarily thinking about the light at the end of the tunnel. You're just thinking about like, what am I dealing with right now? Because you're in survival mode, you know? And I love that again that you talked about the fact that, because I always talk about how obviously taking care of yourself from a physical aspect is important, right? Eating clean, going to the gym, all these things that you are actively already doing. But when I talk about burnout, I always say that burnout is caused because you're disconnected within. It's not an external thing. But when people think about burnout, they go to what we just talked about. There's too much stuff on my plate, and we're often trying to fix it from the outside in, right?
Yeah.
With these external measures. And again, not saying that eating clean, working out aren't important. They're obviously key to a healthy lifestyle. But if you want to get to the root cause of stuff, that requires you to go within, you know what I mean? And actually do the internal work. And when you haven't done that for so long, or you haven't even just put attention on yourself in so long, that can feel very vulnerable and scary and almost a little bit like, what am I going to really get out of it? Because I find most, again, high achievers, everyone's already super cerebral. Like everyone's already super intelligent. You're quick, you're smart, you're clever, you're tenacious, all these internal things up here are great. And so you're used to always having the answers. You're like, well, I should just be able to heal my burnout myself. But then how many years later you're in the same process and you're like, okay, well, clearly what I'm doing isn't working. Right.
Well, I think, yeah, you're totally right. I mean, I have a couple points I'll just say back to what you just reiterated. Was I feel like also like when you don't feel like connected to like yourself and your purpose and like what you're doing and like why you're getting up every day, and why you're doing what you're doing, and you don't really like feel it, I guess. I don't know really how to describe it, but you just don't like, you're not really like flowing with yourself, right? Like what I tend to do, and I'm sure, and I know you did the same thing, is like I try to control everything else around me to make me feel like I'm centered and I'm good and I'm this and I'm, and so I'm like, I got to make sure like I love the gym and I love my fitness and I'm, you know, like I'm neurotic about it. It kind of goes hand in hand. It's like, well, am I like that because like I'm just like I need to make sure that's on point cuz like I hate my job? Like it's weird. Like I don't know how to describe it. Or is it just like the way we are? Like are we just born like there's so many like it's so complex, you know? And so I find myself like wondering those things. And I think like a lot of people do. It's like, why am I trying to control, like, am I trying to control everything around me because I don't feel like I'm in control of myself and what I'm doing? And like, right. And so now that we've kind of gone through like, you know, many weeks of kind of just like talking and working through stuff, it's like, you know, well, maybe I should just like learn how to pause. And I don't know how to do that. And I don't feel comfortable doing that. And anyone that knows me knows that like, I'm always doing something. I'm always like, you know, like decorating or cleaning or like going to the gym or cooking or, you know, like I know how to watch a movie, obviously, but like I don't like go for walks by myself, you know, like I don't know how to go for, like, I didn't honestly know how to go for a walk in peace without like listening to something or doing something or being in the gym even without ear pods in listening to music. Like, it sounds stupid, but like, that's how I felt, you know?
This is so real. Like this is exactly what people are experiencing, and same with me too. It's like you you don't even, well, I love what you said about the control thing. It's like that's spot on. It's like when you feel out of control within, you feel like you're going to bring yourself back is by controlling everything around you. But
Yeah.
then that's exhausting in itself because we know that at the end of the day, the only thing we actually have control over is us. We don't actually have control any of those other things. So we're depositing into something that's a complete fallacy. Like it's not even real. We're just trying to make it real in our brain, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like just over the last little while that we've been working together, like I've really just tried to just been like, you know what? Like those shoes are there. Like I'm just gonna leave them there. There's dishes in the sink. I'm just gonna leave them there. You know, like just like things that used to drive me nuts. I'm really trying to not make myself nuts anymore because it doesn't matter. What matters the most is like how I feel internally. And like I have to say, like I definitely feel so much more like I feel clearer that I can, you know, be by myself and go for a walk and not listen to something in my ears and like just give up some of that control a little bit. I look at it differently now and I view it differently and I'm more aware of like I feel like my actions than before, you know? And so when you're aware of something, I feel like that just gives you the advantage to, you know, to shift that as well.
100%. And so, like, I would ask you in the time that we've worked together, what has been your favorite part of the work that we've done?
Well, besides that, I get to talk to you every week. That's my favorite part. It's been like really cool just sharing this journey with you.
Well, and I think what I'd like to add to that though too is like you said, we've had designated time for you.
Right.
Right? And just like you said before, like you've always been in this process of growing, but it's like when was the last time we just dove into Jess uninterrupted, went to the depths, here solely to serve her, you know what I mean? And what she needs at that time. And maybe even just, I know I asked you one question, but maybe just talk about that process, like of having to actually put that focused attention on you and go a little bit beneath the layers. Like what was that like for you?
I mean, it's not easy. Like, it's still like I feel like there's still so much work to be done. I mean, like I, you know, I'm not going to disclose my age, but you can probably take a guess. But it's a lot of undoing more than doing. You know, like I think that's the hardest part. Is like it's not really about the change to do something different. It's about the change to like leave that shit in the past and like move forward with your life. Like that's the hardest part is all of the things that we've been around and taught in our environments and our, you know, everyone, our parents, and like, not that, again, my parents are fantastic, but there's always shit. There's always stuff, you know? And so I think that the undoing has been like the most challenging, just kind of working through a lot of past like personal struggles, you know, just things that have been really hard, like growing up, you know? And I feel like that has really like everyone, has made a huge impact on like where I'm at today, both negatively and of course positively. But the negative stuff, I think I've just kind of learned that, we need to be gracious on ourselves. We need to talk to ourselves better, and we need to know that like the past really isn't real. It happened, but it's not now. It's not today. It's not right what's in front of you. It's not what you're living at this very moment. So like why do we keep in our head like always going back to this? I think that's just been the biggest struggle, is just like letting that go. But also like by letting that go, I think that what's really kind of helped me is a lot of deep breathing, honestly. Like I put on a meditation app last night when I was going to bed, because I just had the most freaking hectic day, like nut bar day. And my head was like, like it was like little chickens in there, like, just nonstop. And so I put a meditation app on and I just started deep breathing, and it literally calmed me. Within probably 7 minutes, I was out. Whereas like I wouldn't do that before. Like I'd be up, I'd be like checking my phone, I'd be like I wouldn't know how to turn myself off. And I think that one of the greatest things also is that I feel like I'm getting a lot better at like learning how to just like turn off that voice. Like just shut up. Like I don't want to listen to you. And all the negative. It's always the negative. It's always that stupid little shit inside of you that's just like being a little brat. Like, well, you should have done this and you should have said this, and like, what about that thing that happened 3 years ago? It's just like that's literally my brain. And so learning how to just let that go and just say, you know what, Jess, it doesn't matter. It's not now. It's not in front of you. What you need to focus on is literally what you're going to do right now. Not even 5 minutes from now or 10 minutes from now. It's like, let's just try to do like what's going on now. And living in that kind of space. And again, it's not like I'm a pro, but I try. But living in that kind of space has just honestly just brought me more peace. Like peace, so much more peace. And like that's the goal. Like that was my goal going into this with you, Minh-Thu, is just I want to feel like when I put my head on the pillow at night, I can just go to sleep. And I have to say, like I have gotten like way better at it. I mean, my alcohol consumption as well has gone down a lot. I'm not perfect for sure, but I mean, I did like a pretty good stretch throughout the summer, like and I didn't even want it. And yeah, just like all these little things combined have just like truly made a huge impact on how I feel.
Okay, if you've been feeling exhausted and overwhelmed with your day-to-day life and you're not sure whether you're actually burnt out or not, go take my free quiz called Is My Burnout Fixable? It only takes 1 to 2 minutes, but it will give you an assessment on what level of burnout you're currently experiencing and also provide some tips you can start to implement right away to help improve your current state. So go to higheralignmentconsulting.scoreapp.com to take the quiz and then DM me or tag me with your results. All right, back to the episode. It's just what so many people are experiencing. And I have seen all these shifts in you since we started working together, which is great. Like just seeing you come off like what I always say is like the red line, right? You were on the red line for so long. And like now you're like letting yourself come down to like, off of 190 or at 150 or at 120 or at 100, and you're getting more comfortable in that space and experiencing that peace, like you said. But that's what I think people don't realize, where the internal struggle is coming from and where all that energy is getting eaten up. Again, when people are at this point of burnout, they think it's something external. But what's actually eating at your energy is those tabs that are open, like you just said, like worrying about something that happened 3 days ago, worrying about something that happened 3 years ago or 30 years ago. Like, and letting that story, whether you're reliving that exact moment or you're just reliving that story and whatever you've learned to believe about yourself, that's eating up the energy in the background. That's what's draining you, is that
Yeah.
now, we talk about how as a child, how you grew up, these survival strategies. Now you adapt into how you perform and how you produce. And it's this constant battle of just being in survival mode. That's what ends up being so draining. And so just what you said is so beautiful. It's more of this process of unlearning and letting go. And especially with, the people that I work with yourself, like most high performers, you don't need to motivate them more.
Yeah.
Right? You don't need I don't need to convince you that success is a good idea or whatever your version of success is. I don't need to convince you that being ambitious is a good idea or going after your dreams and your goals is a good idea. I don't need to convince you of any of that, right? The goal of the journey has always been, how do we still allow your potential to be actualized and realized and do all these things, but in a way that's sustainable and that feels good,
Yeah.
that actually feels good. And just like you said, you're feeling so much more peace, which is amazing. I would also be curious to ask, like, so obviously you're feeling more peace. You've noticed lots of, you'll be able to lay your head down on the pillow at night and feel good about it. Love that you put the meditation into practice yesterday, which is awesome. But also, like, I think people, especially like fight or flight types, which I know you are and I previously was recovering from it. But when you're used to success only coming on one type of speed, and that is being fight or flight. I know when I talk to people off the bat about when we start this process of unlearning and letting go and like being like, well, can you let yourself have some personal time? Can you go for a walk undisturbed and just be with yourself? And that idea of slowing down feels threatening, mainly because your nervous system doesn't even know what that means, right? It thinks that no, we survive on max speed all the time. But like, a lot of people think that if they start to slow down, they're going to lose their competitive edge, right?
Yeah.
Like, if I allow myself to take a break, if I pour back into myself in any way that's different than what I did, I'm going to lose my edge. I'm going to lose what I've built up. I might, just all these things come up. And I want to ask you, in this process of you learning to pour back into Jess more and taking care of yourself and letting yourself breathe, what have you noticed as far as a shift in regards to your productivity and being at work?
To be honest, I think that my productivity has gotten better. Like, I think the reason why is because I feel way less on edge. Like, you could like ask me like if that pen had like black ink in it or blue, and I would like flip a lid. Like, I mean, I'm being dramatic, but it was really hard for me to just like woosah and not just fly off the handle all the time. I just look like, here's the thing. People are difficult, right? Like, working in an environment with a ton of people is very difficult. And when you've been doing it for a really, really, really long time and the same thing over and over and over and over again, like, the patience just runs thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner, right? Like, there's a lot of great people in the industry, but there's a lot of annoying people in the industry too. Okay? Like, but salespeople are annoying, customers are annoying. Like, like, there's great ones. I have fantastic people that I see too. But, you get to a point where like you just don't want to hear anything from anyone. So I feel like now, like, if someone comes to me and asks me a stupid question, because it happens all the time, um, I sit there, and instead of like wanting to rip their head off, I sit there in like silence and patience, and I just try to smile at them nicely. Like, actually, like, I'm not faking it. Like, I'm trying to, create a nice environment. And I just think to myself, like, these people are just trying to do the best they can. Like, this isn't me problem. This isn't a you problem. And I have to keep telling myself that, you're gonna, like, every person in this walk of life is gonna be different. There's gonna be so many people that drive you up the wall, right? And it's like, okay, well, how do you handle it? Well, when you're on edge, and when you're, tired and exhausted and burnt out, or, however you want to say it, you just you're quick to react. And so I think that during this process, if anything, I'm trying really hard to like not be so quick to react. And that's like one of the things that I actually really don't like about myself, is like my reactions, how quickly I react. And again, like, this stems from like childhood, right? Like, this stems from things that have happened in my life and my past. And that's the reason, like, that's why I am the way I am. And I understand that. So just knowing that, and knowing like, okay, like, that's not you now though. Like that, just because that was you then, and that like, and you know, and like when we started, I was like, why am I like this? Like, why? I don't want to be like this. Why am I like this? Minh-Thu, tell me, right? And it's like, and you know, we went through all the stuff, and it's true. It's like, well, it's because that's the way I was wired based on my experiences from before, and I haven't been able to undo that, right? And so I think that just being able to understand like why I react the way I react has been huge, and why I know that I don't have to. And so when I feel that coming on, I try honestly just to just be like, Kate, time out, Jess. Like, brain stop, time out. Like, just stop and just listen, and don't be so quick to react, because that personality trait actually isn't who you are. Like, and I don't want to be like that, you know? And so that's been huge for me, honestly. And even that one little thing, and there's been a lot more than that, but just that one little thing, because it's the environment that you're in every single day. Like, you either create a great environment or you create an awful environment. And look, the reality is I'm still there. I don't know what I'm going to do next at this point, right? And that's okay. But kind of going through this process, I really just, I feel better. Like, I feel a lot better going to work every day now, honestly, because it's like, okay, I'm there. And I'm so friggin' grateful. Like, I am so grateful, Minh-Thu. Honestly, I am. Like, I have to say, like, I was driving to work on Saturday. There was a freaking atmospheric storm shit like crazy everywhere. And these poor people everywhere on the streets with umbrellas that are flipping upside down. Like, look, I have to say, yes, we hate our job, but like, holy shit, are we ever grateful, you know? So not only that, but going there every day, I just said, you know, I just say to myself, like, I'm going to try to create the best atmosphere that I can do. And there's a lot of people that I work with that, you know, everyone, you know, kind of beats to their own drum and does their thing. But like, if I can bring something to the table to make myself happier and to make other people around me happier, then like, I think I'm winning in that department. And not every day is going to be like that, but you know, I've really been trying my best to do that. So I think that that's been a huge win for work wise for me.
100%. And like, it's just such a stark difference from when we first started. Because I remember when we first started, you're like, I need to leave my job. I need to get out of here. Like, get like how? Like, that was your only focus. And you know, I think it's fair to say that you know that this probably won't be, there will probably be another step beyond what you're doing now. Do you know what I mean? There's more that you want to explore. But the fact that you went from being like, get me out of here now, to being like, I'm going to make this the best environment possible. You know what I mean? Like, because I think there are so many people that are in that same position that are feeling the way you felt when we started working together. And they're thinking the only way to make themselves feel better is to leave their job, to move to another country. That might even be in a
Yeah.
relationship. People can get to that same stagnant point in a relationship and thinking that they need to exit that. And we have to disclaim that sometimes that is the right move,
Yeah.
right? But what's so beautiful about what you said is that you shifted the focus from trying to fix the outside and turned it within you. And now it's gone to a point where you said you're feeling more productive, you're feeling better, you're feeling more present, you have more patience, and you're trying to create the best environment possible. Like, that to me is the definition of like taking your power back, because it probably felt like at the beginning like helpless to an extent. And now like, look how much power you've pulled back into you.
You know, it's crazy. Like, I remember, it's just so funny, you know, how it's just so funny how life works and how, you know, how things happen, right? Like, I remember going there every single day and being so freaking excited, you know, and like, I'm going to crush it. And like, I'm going to show him, how great I am. And, you know, like, it was the best. It was such a great feeling, but that was because I was growing. Right. And like, so I'm getting emotional thinking about it, to be honest, because it was like, I was so excited because I was so excited to grow. Right. And like, it was amazing. And like, and then you like, sorry. And then you like, you know, climb. And then you're like, what the fuck? How come I hate this now? Right? And yeah, sorry. Oh gosh. This is what you do to me, girl. um yeah, so you climb so hard, and then, you know, you kind of hit a place where you're like, how did I, like, why am I so miserable? Right? It's like, but I have everything that I wanted. right? Like I have a great career and like I have great people around me and I like work for great people and I have like, you know, it's everything what you want. You know, I make 6 figures plus, like I do phenomenal. Like 10 years ago me, like would have never believed that like I've been able to do what I've done. Honestly, like learning everything. And I remember crying every single day in the beginning because I was like, how the hell am I going to get through this? Like, I don't know shit, right? It was tough, man. It was so tough. It's just crazy that, you know, you get to a place where you're like, I just want to beat my head against that wall now, even though that wall was like, you know, a shrine to me before. But again, it just goes back to, you know, well, like I said to you this like weeks ago, it's like, well, what got you here is not necessarily what's going to get you there. And that's what I really realized was like, you know, like I was listening to this podcast and I think it was Mark Manson or something. And anyway, it was like, what got you here isn't necessarily going to get you there. And like that hit me hard. And I was like, damn, okay, like it's time for me to like, even if I can just work on myself internally and feel okay going to the work that I go to every single day and being around the people every single day until I figure out my next move, I want to at least be happy doing it, you know? So I think that it's just in the growing, right? And that's really where this whole thing kind of transpired from, was just in the growing. And I just want to be in that place where I'm growing again, because that's really what I love. And that's really who I am deep down. Like, that's what motivates me. Like, that's what gets me out of bed every day. Like, when I competed in my fitness competition, I'm like, let's go. Like, I need to fucking make sure I win, you know? And like, when I got this job, it was like, let's go. Like, I need to, and I think you know, it's just a sense of, for me, it's just a sense of accomplishment. And it's not about the money. It's not about the stuff. It's not like we talked about. It was like, yeah, cool. We got that Gucci bag. We did it. Awesome. What's next? Right. It was just like, it's just about like, it's the internal thing. Like I always say, it's not about the car you drive. It's about what got you to a place where you could go get that car that you drive. It's not about the 4 wheels, right? It's about what happened in here and in here in order for you to get it. And so for me, like that's the biggest thing that I'm looking to continue to do. And it just comes from like within, right? It comes from us. It comes from just working through our shit and just not being afraid to just do something different. Just do something different, right? Like, when was the last time like I freaking did like modules? Like, I don't know, science class? Like, I literally don't know, you know? So like to me, that is growing, right? So oh man, I had to take science I think 3 fucking times. Hopefully I don't have to do your course 3 times. I'll probably have to do it 10. But yeah, anyway.
I'm glad I brought you back to science class. Oh my gosh, my stomach
Yeah,
hurts. But okay, but what's so great about what you just pointed on is, again, I think what people love is that growth, like you said, that internal drive to grow and achieve. And it's not so much the external stuff, it's about that process of growth. However, what I do think is interesting from what I've seen with myself and just others that I've worked with is that in your 20s you're in this place of proving yourself to the external world. And so then
right.
you get to this point again where you get the position, you climb the corporate ladder, you get the job, the car, the house, the nice things, and that's great. But then when you get into your, your 30s and your 40s and you start to realize like, okay, the external actually isn't feeding me anymore,
Yeah.
and actually it's draining me. And so when you say that what got you to point A isn't going to get you to point B, it's like, okay, so the external worked for a while, but now it's like, I can't keep living for everybody else. I can't keep this dance of proving myself to everybody else. Like, it's not motivating, it's draining. And so it's not only just realizing you have to learn something different, but that shift of putting your focus from outside of you into you, that
Yeah.
is, like we said, very vulnerable. It's a completely different skill set. And often what I hear every time is when you start shifting that focus onto you, it's attached to guilt because you have been programmed to believe that putting your needs first is foreign, and it feels foreign, and taking care of yourself, it's like we're so used to self-sacrificing for everything around us for the
Oh, totally.
goal.
Yeah.
right? But then when it comes to putting that focus onto you, again, it attaches a lot of guilt. And so that's what I work through with pretty much everybody. And I know we've worked through that, is creating this journey of understanding that you are your number one project. And if you love to grow and you love to achieve and go for greatness, we shift that focus from being at the job, the position, the whatever, maybe you're a mother or a partner or whatever, being the best in those circumstances. It now has to become, how can you be the best you for the season that you're in? And again, what most of my clients, the season that they're in, is not a season of you have to convince me to achieve more. That's already wired in there. But
Yeah.
can we get to achieving and still have that same ambition from a place that's actually replenishing you and not depleting you? One of my final questions is two. So the next question I had for you is, while we've done a lot of work around your professional life and improving how you felt there, I'm curious to know, or if you'd be willing to share, just like how this work has affected your personal relationships. Because, that's not necessarily the goal when we go into it, but I'm curious to know how you've seen your personal relationship shift since starting this journey.
Um, I think, like, honestly, I would say it's kind of the same as, like, not the same as work, but like in a sense, just the like the need to always kind of control again, right? Like I think just again, just taking a step back. Like I think that's the best way that I can describe kind of how I feel about things right like now, is just taking a step back and just trying to observe more and talk less and like not react so fast to everyone. Like whether it's work, whether it's personal, I think that that's probably, I would say, the biggest shift is just be trying not to be so quick to react. And again, like it's just the unlearning of like, you know, me reacting so quickly was because I had to be in fight or flight mode when I was growing up due to a certain like due to situations, right? And so, and I'm not gonna like get into what, but I've been like I feel like I grew up on the battlefield, to be honest with you, in a lot of situations. So that's always my need, just to fight, and it served me well in a lot of different areas, right? Like I'm a great fighter, but I think I need to learn to like stop being like such a fighter all the time. So yeah. Anyways, now I'm gonna cry again. Yeah, I'm just
That's
trying.
so
I'm just trying to chill the fuck out.
No, but that's exactly it. You know what I mean? Like it might sound so simple, but it's so profound. Like it's, to me, what I'm hearing when you say is like being able to step back and observe more is just like letting your nervous system, letting your
Yeah.
subconscious know that it's like it's okay to just take some space. And that doesn't mean you care any less. That doesn't mean you're any less ambitious or you're any less striving for greatness like you were before, you're any less loving. It's just letting your system know, like, hey, we can chill out a bit and we can still live a really great life.
Yeah, and I before like we connected on this level, like I never even thought about it because I always felt like if I wasn't fighting and I wasn't like in that state where I wasn't observing and chilling out, that I was failing, to be honest. So again, like I don't know, the control mixed with perfectionism mixed with fight or flight attitude has been like this whirlwind of like trying to the undoing of the undoings, So yeah, so that's kind of where it's at. Yeah.
Beautiful. One of the last things I would ask you here is, so for anyone who's listening who resonates with your story, who can completely relate to feeling how you felt when you got started, and they're considering going down this journey, whether it's working with me or just going on a path of going within and really looking deep within, like what advice would you give them to start this journey?
I feel like you don't know what you don't know. I know that sounds so simple, but you really don't. You don't know what you don't know. And the reality is if you want to grow and you want to change anything, really, whether it can be anything in your life, I feel like the way to do that is just by being a little vulnerable. And to be honest, like, I am not a vulnerable person at all. Like, I don't show signs of weakness. I do to a couple people in my life, and that is it. So I feel like we gotta just, I mean, me, like, I just had to be like, all right, what I'm doing doesn't make me feel that great, you know? And so I guess, you know, people always talk like, you know, being vulnerable is like so important and so key and all these things. And I'm like, I am not vulnerable. Like, but how I felt wasn't a good feeling. And so I would just say, like, you know, yeah, it's going to probably be a little weird, especially like talking out loud and like doing stuff. Like, you know, it is uncomfortable. It's weird because it's not what we're used to. And anything we're not used to feels like that. But like, so what? Like, what do you have to lose? Like, shit. I mean, you're going to wake up tomorrow and you're going to feel the exact same way as you do today. Like, you know, and if you, I don't know, like, I feel like if people just want to keep doing like that, that's cool. But like, I just didn't want to do that. So, I mean, definitely 100% work in progress all the time. But I feel just like, look, like, we're all in the same place, really. I mean, we all have our shit. Like, you have your shit, I have my shit, my neighbor has, like, everyone has stuff. And I think that, you know, being a little vulnerable with somebody that you can trust and open up to, honestly, like, is a game changer. Like, honestly, like, if it wasn't for the fact that, like, look, I know that I know Minh-Thu, and I know a lot of people listening, you know, don't know her on the same level I do. It doesn't matter. Like, this girl is a killer. She's amazing. Like, just the relatability and the no judgment alone. Like, I wouldn't have these conversations with people ever. But because you are that type that people can completely open up to and be honest with, and there is not one bone of judgment in your body, and you have so much knowledge to bring to the table and just be like to anyone is huge. And it, again, like, you have, it's just that safe space, right? And so if you can just be a little vulnerable, change just, you know, like a little bit, right? Even a little, couple hours here and there, and, you know, maybe work with somebody that you're like, that you can totally trust and connect with, I would just say, why not? Right? Like, why not? Why not? Why not? Even like I said, going into this, like, I was like, what do I have to lose? Like, I don't know, like, maybe find out a few different things about myself, right? Let's just give it a shot. I don't know. I feel like that people that probably would do this are people that, you know, have the same kind of maybe story as us. And I mean, they're not really, they're good decision makers for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, they're not ones to like hum and hod and like make decisions. And
I think that's a great note to end on. And just like you said, like, make the decision. And really what you're deciding, if you come to work with me or whoever, is you're making the decision just to pour back into you. And if you can relate to anything that was said in this episode, then that means it is absolutely time for you to do that. So thank you, Jess. This was incredible. I'm so glad you came on, and I can't wait for us to have another conversation.
I know. It's so fun. Thank you.
All right, guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Higher Alignment Podcast. If you got something out of this episode, I would ask that you please go subscribe and also leave the podcast a 5-star review so that it can find its way to other people who are also having a hard time and need support. My mission in life is to help executives realize that we don't need to suffer in silence while still performing at a high level. I want to help free people of the heavy pressure they carry on a day-to-day basis, and having more people listen to this podcast will do just that. So wherever you listen, please go subscribe and leave it a 5-star review, and we'll see you in the next episode.